Alrighty, you ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Hello, D-Gens. Welcome to Degenerate Takes. I, of course, am the Brofict one, AJ. Joining me, as always, man with the numbers, sportsbook whisperer, college basketball guru, daddy of the diamond, all hail the king of the links, the money train, Noah. How you doing today, Bob?
You know, I'm doing. But the good news is every day that goes by means we're one day closer to football season.
Yes. Yes, we're so close to football season, dude. I can smell it now. I can smell the beer a little too early in the morning, getting ready for those morning games. I can smell, the disappointment in my wife that I haven't moved from the same spot in over 10 and a half hours, and I'm still got another hour and a half in me. I'm ready for it all. I'm joking. My wife doesn't hate it that much. I don't think. We'll find out throughout our marriage.
Yeah,
But
well, I think you get college NFL season. It's like, all right, well, sorry, you're not going to get a weekend for 4 months, but
no, and I gave her a weekend earlier, this summer. You know what I mean? We had a full on weekend and then a full week and everything. Granted, it was partially for me too, but
yeah, you talking about that full week that was your honeymoon that you were also texting me during saying, hey, can you put these bets in for me?
listen, dude, I like the lines on the U.S. Open. I don't know what you want me to say. Before we go any further, though, dude, just want to take a moment. Shout out to everyone watching here on Rumble, YouTube, over on X. Y'all are the best. If you like what we're cooking, please hit those like buttons. Hit the follow buttons. Does help us out a lot more than you know. And Noah, we've got a lot to talk about today. We've got our AFC, NFC West division breakdown. We've got our first poll. Yes, Noah, I know you've missed them as much as I have, but we have our first poll of the college football season. That would be the coaches poll. We'll get into that. But I do want to start somewhere else because it is a headline breaking news that really, like if someone didn't know anything about football and they were writing a play or a musical about like a football team in training camp, like they would add, like a fifth quarterback to a room or something like that. Really get the dynamics flowing of who'll be there, who won't be there. You know what I mean? And write that drama out that way. And I'm starting to think that the Browns GM used to work for like General Hospital or something like that because it's getting one of those things where they're hiring too many people at the same position. Adam Schefter reporting as of 2 hours ago that Tyler Huntley, Snoop, has been signed by the Cleveland Browns. Tyler Huntley did spend part of last season with Cleveland as well. And this is due to the fact that Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel are nursing hamstring injuries, and Shedeur Sanders is having a sore shoulder. So they don't have enough quarterbacks on the roster for training camp at this time that can throw a football. One name that was omitted from that list of injured quarterbacks, Noah, of course, is no one else but elite Joe Flacco, who, I mean, if these injuries aren't nearly as bad as it seems, it still seems like he is leaning toward. The Browns are going to be leaning towards him being the day one starter. Deshaun Watson not in that conversation whatsoever due to his injury status. But I don't make anything of this. I just think it's funnier more than anything that even though the Browns have
about Watson. So this is quarterback number 6 now.
Number 6 on the payroll for your Cleveland Brownies.
Which I know at this point in camp, you got 108 spots that you can have. Eventually cut down to the 53-man roster, but 6 quarterbacks seems a little excessive. Although I think I think Cleveland's viewing Deshaun Watson at this point as just somebody who's an employee that's on their payroll still, but they don't expect anything out of him, or they're just. They're still paying him. They just would prefer if he just didn't even show up to work because.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, man, we appreciate. Well, you've been here for a while, and we promised you a lot of money, and we got to pay you all that money, regardless if we fire you or not. So we're just going to keep you here. Please don't do anything stupid, and you can just collect all this money and never have to play a snap of football again. Sound good? Yep. Sounds good.
He's just hanging out in the cafeteria all day long.
Interesting. I was interested because I haven't thought about Deshaun Watson in a while, and that's fascinating. That now when I think about the Cleveland Browns in the quarterback room, I just kind of omit Deshaun Watson from the room, and I think about it's a battle between Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, and now Tyler Snoop Huntley. The Browns have not yet put Deshaun on PIP yet. Physically unable. Oh, PUP, excuse me, not PIP. Yeah. Physically unable to perform list. So that's interesting. I thought they would have done that by now to save a roster spot, but I mean,
they're gonna pull a different move and just hire a hitman.
Listen. We've seen how cheap the Browns are. They ain't gonna shovel out that kind of money.
Hey, man, just hire a cheap one.
Oh, sure. That's worked out great. No, it's a sad situation that Cleveland fans are in now. And, it's kind of, they put themselves in this situation with all the guaranteed money and everything like that. But this story, again, is a non-starter. He probably will not be on the roster come a couple weeks from now when all the quarterbacks are healthy. And now they got 5 quarterbacks that can throw instead of 1 quarterback that can throw. So I don't know. But, hey, more reps for Joe Flacco. He's going to be... I'm feeling elite Joe Flacco this year, just going on a run, bro.
Yeah, I assume this move too is because of those injuries and dressing quarterbacks. Because I imagine Joe Flacco won't be playing in any preseason games. Seems like the Browns have no interest in Watson playing in any preseason games. So then you going into your first preseason game here, you don't want to just. Well, I guess at that point, if you got 3 guys dealing with injuries, like they need a quarterback to play their first preseason game at the very least. And that's all that this move is saying to me is, hey,
okay,
we're bringing you in, Huntley. You're going to go out there and you're going to play pretty much the whole preseason game. And then if we need you next week, yeah, you'll be in for that too. And then as soon as these guys are, back to being able to get snaps in, like he's going to get just cut.
So Tyler Huntley is just being put out there for slaughter. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But, if, you're betting, if you're an absolute sicko and betting on player props during preseason games, I don't know. I've, offshore does, but
maybe
I think not in Arizona. I do think some other states have them, but Arizona does not. At least the books I've looked at. But if you are, Tyler Huntley may have a career game because this isn't just okay, I'm going to come in and see if I can compete for the Browns. It's, no, let me go out there. What have you done for me recently? Well, I just went out there and threw for 300 yards with 2 running touchdowns and 2 touchdowns in the air. What has your backup quarterback done for you lately? You know what I mean? And so it's a good opportunity for him. I don't blame the guy for saying yes.
No. And for him, I think it's very much going to be an opportunity to showcase his abilities to hopefully be signed as a backup or even a third string elsewhere. I don't think he's going to stay in Cleveland very long. No. I hope he just is renting an Airbnb for a couple weeks.
For sure. Or like even a Holiday Inn, close to the stadium. I think that would be fine for a week or 2. I could live in a Holiday Inn for a week, I think.
But
probably cheaper than the Airbnb, dude, especially after you get through cleaning fees and shit.
Well,
yeah, I hope he's fiscally responsible and staying at like a Holiday Inn or something like that. No need to spend the money on the cleaning fees.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I have no idea where he's staying, but again, I imagine he'll be playing probably maybe the whole game.
For sure. Oh, for sure.
So it is an opportunity for him. I don't see a world where he's making the 53-man roster with the Cleveland Browns, but he's definitely got an opportunity to at least catch some attention elsewhere and earn himself a roster spot on a different team.
Oh, yeah, and then even if it's not this week or next week, first 2 weeks come around, someone gets hurt, hey, you got to call someone. Well, hey, Tyler Huntley just looked really good for the Browns they're playing the Panthers this week. So opportunity for Tyler. I'm rooting for Tyler Huntley this week. I think that's what I'm going to do this weekend. I'm not going to root for any teams. I'm just going to root for Tyler Huntley this weekend.
Yeah, all right.
I don't know. I've always been a fan of the guy. But shout out to the Browns making it work and doing what they do best, which is bring different quarterbacks into the building that will start for you for a week or 2, and then you never see them again. So
They are really good at having a revolving door at their quarterback position.
Shout out to me. Hey, they're consistent at least. They're consistent. They're like, you think you know who our starter is. Hey, we don't even know who our starter is. So, try preparing for that, Noah.
Yeah, I feel for you, Cleveland fans. I don't know what it's like, but it doesn't sound fun.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. One thing I think you and I are both familiar with those players being suspended for a certain period of time for whatever reason, whether it's PEDs, not being able to not drink and drive, stuff like that. Well, the Vikings might be going through that starting the season off as they are bracing. Reports are coming out. They are bracing for a 3-game suspension for Jordan Addison to start the season from those DUI charges back last year in July. So that sucks for the Vikings, sucks for Vikings fans, but hey, don't drink and drive.
Yeah, no, that would be, I think, the moral of the story here.
Don't drink and drive, and you get to play football. Simple as that. Georgia players, take notes. Take notes. Don't do that.
Yeah, well, and then a year or two ago, he also had that criminal speeding ticket at like 157 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So
I feel like if you do criminal speeding and then you do, I hate to say graduate to DUI, like people just kind of forget about the criminal speeding unless you're criminal speeding while you're DUIing.
Well, he did say with the 157 criminal speeding, he was taking his dog to the emergency vet.
I might not look at the speedometer either if it's my dog, so I can kind of understand that one. I'm not not saying it's okay by any means, but you know what I mean. It's your dog. It's your dog. But
yeah,
anyway.
but yeah, just obey the traffic laws, or at least obey them to the extent that you're not getting suspended or
pulled over. Listen, you don't have to drive like a saint, but you just can't drive bad enough to get pulled over.
Yeah.
And the common side effects like swerving and crashing into stuff, it's usually going to end up with some type of charges being filed. So let's just drive okay. Not telling you to drive good. You just got to drive okay. But
yeah, I mean, there's plenty of idiot drivers out there who drive like shit, but so long as you're not, I don't.
What's the difference? They don't get pulled over, Noah. That's the difference. They're just bad drivers, and they don't get pulled over.
Just, don't drive drunk, and maybe don't hit triple digits on your miles per hour on there.
Again, we are not lawyers, and this is not legal advice whatsoever. Just some common sense off the top of the head to start the show.
I'm just saying, 89 in a 60. It's like, all right, because that's a slap on the wrist. You pay the fine, the probably multiple $100 speeding ticket, and then you just move on with your life.
Yeah, you're nice to the cop. Yeah, you're going 15 over and not 20 over. You're in a good spot, but rough. Last thing, Noah, before we get to some good stuff here. We just need to remind ourselves now, and I think remind everyone, that we should not, under any circumstances, unless it is like late rounds going on our bench, draft Kyle Pitts in high rounds during fantasy football this season, because I'm starting to hear the rumbles, and it's coming from a quote. And it's, Kyle Pitts and Michael Penix are golf buddies. Noah, they play golf together.
Don't do it.
They play golf together. No, what? They play golf together. And Penix is working on establishing a high-level chemistry with Pitts in hopes that he can fulfill his immense potential. Noah, don't do it. Don't do it.
No, just don't. I will tell you, the one guy that you do absolutely want on the Falcons, I think, is going to be Drake London. I think his target share is going to be insane. And Bijan obviously is going to put up some really big numbers, but just if you're looking at Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, just remember this. Remember this PSA and just don't do it.
Don't do it, okay? You can do whatever else you want. Whatever else you want, just don't fall for that one, okay? And don't listen to your friend who's going to gas him up. Just let him be miserable for the season. Not you. You don't need to be miserable this fantasy football season. Let someone else do it.
And don't take McCaffrey number 1 overall.
Someone's still a little bitter about that, Noah.
Yeah, well, I just was pissed when I got the number one overall pick in the draft order because a lot of people would be excited about that, and I said, oh fuck that. It's a lose-lose. I'm in a 14 team league, so my second pick is until fucking 28. And now I got to draft a guy who somehow is inevitably going to get injured, whether it was McCaffrey or if I took somebody else. I'm like, it's just not gonna work. And the only other name that I was thinking about maybe taking instead of McCaffrey, I'm like, okay, I almost talked myself into Tyreek Hill, but he had a very disappointing season, also. So.
Well, Noah, I do have good news on the.
Just don't get the number one overall pick. I'm like, let me just pick ninth. Ninth is a fine number. I'll pick ninth. I don't care. I can get a good guy in the first round. I'll have a really nice second round pick, and we'll call it a day and call it good.
Well, I don't know if you heard, Noah, about Tyreek. So if you do want some good news on Tyreek, he did say for the first time. No, no, he usually waits until in season for the kid to pop out, and then we're on kid watch. Anyway, no, he said that he, for the first time, is really understanding the offensive playbook for the Dolphins. And so, that's probably a good thing. I don't know. Things seem weird down there in Miami.
Well, things seem weird. When you got your head coach coming out and saying, oh, yeah, it's a great day because we're one day closer to death.
That was wild, dude. Like, oh, he must hate his life right now. I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong.
No, that man's just.
You just think he's insane?
He's just so deep onto the spectrum that he's like. And I feel like people aren't really, used to it, but he's definitely. Well, I can't speak in certain, but I'm pretty damn sure that man's well into the spectrum, and we just don't see it a ton from like head coaches in sports. You look at MLB pitchers; it's all over the place. Like the evidence is there. I don't know,
holy shit!
I don't know what RFK was on about that shit because, yeah. I mean, you look at baseball pitchers, but yeah, you don't see it a ton at the head coaching level. But yeah. Mike McDaniel, he's definitely there, and just watch any of his interviews. Dude's a little unhinged to say the least.
But not even just that, but like the whole, Tyreek saying he's not long for here at the end of the season, and then he stays. Tua says some weird shit at the beginning of training camp. I don't know. Seems like the Dolphins are going to be the train wreck that we're expecting them to be this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they're going to fall into that boat of teams where, like, yeah, they're still capable of winning, like, a lot of these games that are on their schedule. Yeah. But you kind of don't have a lot of faith that they are going to figure it out a lot. They're going to be a team that's dangerous any given week, but not as, like, a whole when you look at the whole schedule. It's like, yeah, they're going to – they fall into the boat for me of looking like talented but dysfunctional is what we're going to get.
Yeah, I feel like they're also going to be a really hard team to bet on. I feel like Vegas is going to have them pinned pretty early, and those lines are going to be just tight.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to get a lot of games where the Dolphins are 2.5, 3.5 point underdogs, and then it's like, all right, fuck.
What are we doing here? What are we doing?
Because I feel like the Dolphins are either like they're going to be this weird team that's capable of winning or losing by 30 points. To a lot of teams that they play.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. Last thing kind of in the news world of the NFL, Noah, I don't know if you saw this last Friday. Yeah, I believe it was last Friday or Thursday. Micah Parsons, he's done, Noah. He's done everything he can. He's decided, I need to get out of here. I need to go on and demand a trade from his Dallas Cowboys, a team he has loved, always wanted to play for, yada, 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 because Jerry Jones has not come to the table, has said some other very questionable things during training camp and his press conferences. Fans at one point getting a hashtag fire Jerry to trend on X. So shout out to the Cowboys fans finally being pissed off enough with this whole thing to
and very ripe too,
Yeah.
because I'm sure Cowboys fans don't realize that they cannot fire the owner of the team.
Nope. And
But
that does make it hard.
if any fan base was going to try to do that, because obviously you got other, man, my twins being one of them, where you got people with signs that say "sell the team" or "f the owner" or whatever. But leave it to Cowboys fans to be like, "Yep, fire Jerry."
Fire Jerry. Fire Jerry ownership. Take charge. Fire this GM. Why do we still have him here?
Oh wait, because the GM is the owner.
Oh shit. Dude, no, but it's we've literally seen this before, and I have no doubt that teams are calling and they're like, "Hey, we have money. We want to give Micah Parsons a lot of money. What do you want for him? Because we will give it to you for Micah Parsons." And
It's gonna be draft capital because
all of the draft capital, bro. You're talking at least one, and then probably a 2 and a maybe, and now probably a 1 and 2 threes, I would say.
Well, yeah, I don't think it'll be that exact, but I did see it was surfacing the Khalil Mack trade when the Bears brought him over from the Raiders, and that was a first round pick, and I want to say 2 pick swaps involved.
That sounds right.
So the Raiders got from the Bears a first round, a second round, and I think a 5th, and then the Bears got Khalil Mack a 3rd and a 6th, or something along those lines. So the Bears essentially traded back around in a day 2 and day 3 pick and gave a first round pick. And I think we're probably looking at a similar to that price point for Micah Parsons. And then you bring him in and you also get the joy of, paying him some ridiculous reset the market type of contract if you're trading for him. So it's going to be a hefty price. It's going to be a hefty price. And I've seen multiple teams thrown in there, swirling around. I know the Packers being one, with the hope with the Packers is you can get that draft capital down a little bit by we do have 6 guys on our roster who are starting caliber offensive linemen.
True. And they need O-line help.
So the idea there is, you throw in one of these young talented offensive linemen to maybe get the draft capital ask down. But I'd rather the Packers just stick it out and get Trey Hendrickson. It seems like a much cheaper option with checks notes, actually better production the last year or two. But
I would agree. But I mean, we can talk about possible trade destinations, how the Bills have interest, the Patriots have interest, the Cardinals have interest, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it doesn't matter.
Everybody should have interest. I mean,
and I'm sure everyone does have interest. You know who doesn't have interest, though, in trade talks, Noah? Jerry Jones, because he doesn't have to trade him. Many players have demanded trades and not been traded. And so why the hell would Jerry Jones trade Micah Parsons on the last year of his deal? Because we both know Jerry Jones ain't the type of GM to think, well, I don't want to sign him to this, so I'll get the capital for him while I can. And then, reload with that. No. Jerry is an all and nothing guy. But it doesn't matter. Jerry doesn't want to trade him. He's not going to trade him, Noah. He's going to wait until 5 minutes before kickoff. No, 5 minutes before kickoff, week 1, Thursday night, he's going to walk into the locker and be like, all right, Micah, you win this one. Here, go ahead and sign that contract. Let's go out there and beat the Eagles on banner night. All right, let's go. Go Cowboys. That's going to happen. I promise you. It's going to be that week of, or it's going to be the day of. Just, wasn't it Dak Prescott or was it CeeDee Lamb who got signed day of?
Dak.
Dak's the one who signed the massive deal day of, because what does Jerry Jones love doing? Stealing headlines, Noah. He trended the whole fire Jerry thing, and he's like, oh, shit, see, I still got it. I'm trending. Look at that. And it good, bad, and different to him. PR, any PR is good PR. And so he's going to keep riding that train. He's going to give Micah Parsons a couple. God, he's going to give him so much money. And so much of it's going to be guaranteed too. Oh, he's going to make so much money.
That's the thing, dude, is
that's the issue. The bank doesn't have enough money for the guarantee. And so Jerry's got to wait for the bank to get the money in because he's going to give him so much guaranteed. Maybe that's what's holding it all up.
I still feel like even with Micah Parsons demanding a trade, or I guess requesting, not demanding, I still think he's going to be a Cowboy because I do think it's going to drag on. It's going to drag on. And then Jerry's going to come around eventually and just make some ridiculous fucking contract offer that Micah Parsons would be stupid to say no to. He's going to pay him more than TJ Watt. It's going to be like a $45 million a year on average. Like, it's going to give him probably like 130, like a 3-year, $135 million deal with 112 of that guaranteed. And Micah Parsons would be stupid to say no at that point.
Yeah, he's like, okay, so a lot of money.
This is what Jerry Jones does. He fucking drags this shit on way longer than it needs to be, and then ends up paying these players some insane amount of money. And says, see, come back to Papa. You can't be mad at me anymore. Because in Jerry Jones's world, you know what the best Band-Aid is, the best relationship fix for anything that might have gone a little bit sour? Throw a shit ton of money at it.
Yeah, he does do that. He does do that. Do Dallas sports fans have the worst 1-2 combo at GM with the Mavs and the Cowboys?
I don't know, man. I low-key think the Mavs are kind of doing things. So
okay, but time out. The Luka trade looks so dumb if they don't get lucky in the lottery.
Yeah. If they don't get the first-round pick in the lottery with a less than 2% chance of getting it, then that bites them in the ass. But guess what? Sometimes it's better to be lucky than smart. and now you got an AD who's still got really good basketball there, and if he can stay healthy, that's a big if. If Kyrie can come back, and now you add Cooper Flag to the mix, the Mavs are a playoff team, right? And it's like, so they can be as pissed off as they want, but there's that, and the Cowboys usually aren't like dog shit. So they're don't get me wrong, there is a lot to be frustrated about. But you can't just be blindly pissed off at everything because it's not like everything's going against you if you're a Dallas sports fan. Like,
no, literally the draft went for you.
If you're going to sit there with that attitude, then you're just fucking stupid. Because there are some positives to look at, and as much as I hate to say it, I think the Cowboys have a few positives. I think the negatives outweigh the positives, but it could be worse. That's my point, is it could be worse. There are dumber GMs than Jerry Jones. There are GMs that do a worse job than Jerry Jones in the NFL.
You're right.
Only difference is those GMs can be fired and do get fired, and then a new idiot takes their place, or maybe they get lucky and get a good one. But
true. Jerry
can't get fired. But I don't think there's ever a year where Jerry Jones is the worst GM in the NFL. And I think I would say every given year there are at least 5 to 6, if not more, that do a worse job than Jerry Jones does. He's just never a top 10 or 15 GM, which is why the Cowboys aren't winning a goddamn Super Bowl anytime soon or in our lifetimes, or at least in Jerry's lifetime, because he's never a top 10 or 15, but he's never the worst,
Yeah, I get it. So shout out to Jerry doing business the Dallas Cowboys way. That way that he does business. Go Jerry. Never change, bud. Let's go ahead and shift gears here, Noah, from the professional gridiron to the college gridiron. As we talked about earlier, it's pool season, brother. Today, apparently, was National Drop Your Preseason Poll Day, as everybody and their mother dropped a preseason poll today. And I got to say, I saw a lot of similarities in polls, a lot of groupthink, kind of putting teams in the same areas. And then I saw the coaches poll finally kind of come into my lens. Thanks to you. Thank you for sending me that. And I get it, if that makes sense. Like, I'll pull it up right here. I get it. And then I don't whatsoever. For example, go ahead.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense, AJ, because there's lots of areas, bits and pieces of this that make total sense to me, right? And then
Yes.
there's some absolute head scratchers. First and foremost for me, I think the top 8 absolutely fine.
Yeah.
I also think you could order the top 8 in whatever fucking order, 1 through top 8. I think you take that top 8, order it whatever way you want. I am not going to shit on you for it at this point before the season even starts. These are all going to be really, really good teams. Clemson would be the one team in there where I, might have them a little bit lower, but I don't think I'd have them egregiously outside the top 8.
I 100% agree with you. That is a stereotypical AP, top 8 going into the season. Order it however you like to, and it's close enough probably.
And 5 or more of those teams in the top 8, I'd be willing to put a lot of money on the fact that they will make the 12-team playoff.
Would agree completely.
At least
5
of those, I'd be confident will be in that 12-team playoff.
Yes. Then comes the fun stuff. I mean, listen, we can start with LSU or Miami. I want to start with Arizona State. I've seen them range anywhere from, I would say 18 to 11 was kind of, somewhere in that sweet spot, but it was either very drastically more towards 11 or more towards 18. And I don't know why. Actually, I know why exactly. I am getting so many flashbacks to the New York Giants the year before Saquon left. Because, Arizona State, first of all, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Dillingham is awesome. Love Dillingham. Love what he's doing with Arizona State. You cannot take away with the fact of what he's built in such a short time there. The culture is clearly there. He's starting to get the fans more invested. They're going to build.
Kind of reminds you of this other guy who was at another Arizona school before that.
Oh.
Somebody by the name of Judd Fish, potentially.
Oh, fuck that guy. Anyway, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. But he's doing a good job with that. Here's where the problems come into with Arizona State and where they kind of go with the Giants here. Arizona State had one of the best running backs in the game last year in Cam Scatterbill. They
more than just a running back. He fucking
literally did everything.
Need him to plug him at tight end, wide receiver, fucking fullback, offensive line, whatever. Dude did it all. I mean, he was a fucking stud.
No, for sure. He was unbelievable. He's going to do great in the NFL. I'm excited to watch him. But Sam Leavitt didn't play that great. He was serviceable in his role, but he didn't play that great. That defense was fine at best. It was not, ready for the playoffs. And yes, I understand Arizona State gave Texas a lot of hell, but still.
We also talked about Texas as being like, a house of cards essentially last year.
Exactly. And so,
or a house of glass. That's what I was looking for.
But I don't think a lot of it's going to transfer over. And yes, they're keeping Sam Leavitt at quarterback. They're also returning their number 1 wide receiver from last season too. So some of that consistency will help. If they don't have that same type of threat in the backfield, this team, I don't think Sam Leavitt is that quarterback that is going to be able to put them over the top.
I will say for Arizona State, they do have a good running back room.
Yeah.
It's not Cam Scatterbill.
No.
And I fully agree with you on Leavitt. I think he was, and he's got a lot of smoke blown up his skirt last year and going into this season.
But so did Daniel Jones that year when he got his big ass contract.
True. And I thought last year Leavitt was average.
He was fine. We could spend time breaking down film and pointing out all of his flaws, but he was a fine quarterback.
Yeah, that defense I thought was solid but not great. I thought Leavitt was average. I don't think their wide receiver room's anything to write home about. And Scatterbu's out. They played a lot of really, really, really tight games that could have easily gone the other direction. And I just don't see them being that much better this year than they were last year. And a couple bounces don't go their way this year. And they're sitting at 7-8 wins. And then they're not even in the top 25 with 7-8 wins in the Big 12. So I've seen them anywhere from 11 to like 20 is kind of the lowest I've seen them in
I did see him at 21.
anybody's
Yeah.
polls. I think 15 to 20 is an appropriate range for ASU. I think 11 is egregiously high.
It's aggressive.
I think there is a more than 50% chance they don't return to the college football playoff.
Oh, for sure.
And I look at some of the teams behind them here in Illinois, South Carolina, Michigan, Ole Miss. I'm going to leave SMU out of this, but rope Florida and Indiana, potentially even Tennessee into that mix of all teams that I think have a better chance at making the playoff than Arizona State does, and that will be better teams and finish better on the season. Can't quite get there with SMU, and I don't fully know with Tennessee. I'm a little on the border with them, but it's going to be a crapshoot like it always is in the Big 12. And then, obviously you got K-State sitting there at 20 in the coaches poll, but there's a good chance that the two of those two teams aren't even in the top 4 in the Big 12 at the end of the season. So it's tough for me to get there with that at 11. And then I know we did just kind of glaze past LSU, Miami. Both of those two teams I have the same sentiments for, which is, they look really good on paper, but I also those two teams. I need to see it before I believe it.
For sure. Real quick, back on ASU real quick. They opened their season against NAU, and then they're at Mississippi State week 2. If they lose,
might be a sneaky tough game.
That's what I'm thinking, dude. If they lose to Mississippi State, they're out of the top 25, right? Because the AP will rank them. Where they rank them, I think, is going to be up to the voters. But I do think ASU is going to get ranked in the top 25 to start the season.
Oh, no doubt about it. I'm going to say AP has them at about 14, 15.
Okay. Maybe. So lost to Mississippi State week 2 after blowing out NAU?
Yeah, well, they'll blow out NAU. If they lose to Mississippi State in week 2, they're going to drop at least 10 spots from wherever they are. Okay. They'll get a little grace because it's a road game, but that's supposed to be one of the worst teams in the SEC, and so they will take a heavy hit from that.
Okay,
if they
just
lose
curious.
Curious. They almost lost at home to Mississippi State last year, so
let's not forget that.
4-win Mississippi State. They almost lost to
that was bad.
Home last year.
Run me.
I just want to refresh everyone's memory. Almost lost to Texas State also.
Run me through 12 through 20, Noah, because teams like Michigan, Indiana, I'll throw Illinois in there, and Kansas State, teams that had good seasons last year, returning a lot of the same team, and I'm expecting big things out of them. I love the way their head coaches are going. I'm excited to see Avery again for Kansas State. He had a solid season last year. I'm looking for him to develop a little bit more. On top of that, if he can take that next step, I think he's going to be a hell of a weapon.
Yeah, but my problem with him is they keep saying that, and he just isn't developing at the pace that you would expect or want. And I'm kind of out. On Avery Johnson. I haven't ever been fully on that boat, and I think he's one of those guys that's getting more hype than he deserves, more hype than he backs up on the football field. Not to say that he won't ever do that, but that's where I'm at with that. I'm glad to see Illinois getting so much respect on the coaches poll, and they're a team that I've actually seen on everybody and their mother putting out their preseason poll much lower, and they're getting a lot of respect on the coaches poll here. And Brett Bielema's got this program in a good spot. They got a lot of returning talent. I think Illinois is going to be a dangerous team this year. Is it going to be good enough to crack the top 12 of the playoff? I don't know. They're going to need some bounces, some calls to go their way in what will be a relatively tough schedule. But I do like the coaches poll putting some respect on Illinois, and I think they're going to be dangerous. Indiana, I'm going to bring up too, right there with Illinois. Two teams in the Big Ten who are not necessarily known as being contenders in the Big Ten, but I think they'll be up there. Obviously, you got your top 3 in Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon. I think Michigan's going to take a big jump back to being really good this year. So the way I would order the Big Ten right now is I'd say you got Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, a little bit of a gap, Michigan, a little bit of a gap, and then Illinois, Indiana. And that's all of which are going to be damn good teams. And so it's going to be a fun one in the Big Ten, especially when you start looking at some of the other teams in the Big Ten and you're like, oh, these are still decent fucking teams. And I think this year the Big Ten is going to really rival the SEC with, the top heavy schools in the Big Ten, I think are right up there at the same level.
Yeah, it's going to be. Sorry, I'm watching the D-backs game. I don't think they got Machado. I think they're going to go to replay. Anyway, I'm with you. I love I'm excited for Indiana. I'm excited to see what they can do this year. Cignetti's second year here with the program. He really turned it around, put a fire under that school's ass last season. I'm expecting a lot more of the same this year.
Well, they're going to have a tougher schedule.
For sure.
Some new players at key positions. So I don't hate Indiana being down at 19.
No.
Because I think they're still going to be very competitive. Cignetti, all he fucking does is win everywhere he goes. But they're not going to get the benefit of the schedule gods in their favor this year, and so they might lose 3 or 4 games this season instead of 2 or 1 in conference play. And I think that keeps them out of the playoff this year. I think they're still going to have a very respectable bowl game and a respectable season. I just think they're not going to replicate what was done last year.
Fair enough. Cool, dude. Anything on the bottom half of this, on the bottom part of this list? A&M, Iowa State, BYU, Texas Tech, and Boise.
Yeah, actually, I know you mentioned with the 12 through 20 there, just to wrap that up real quick. South Carolina, Ole Miss, Florida, you could even rope in Tennessee. You have 4 SEC teams in there that I do expect 2 of which will finish higher than they are on this list and 2 of which will finish lower or off of this list. And I don't know which 2 out of those 4 are going to be where.
That's the SEC for you.
They're all 4 of those schools, a lot of promise, a lot of opportunity, a lot of question marks. And so I think it's appropriate to have them right in the range that they are. SMU, I think, is grossly overrated at 16. I know they had a tremendous year last year. I don't really see them replicating it. I think there's going to be some regression, and losing 3 to 4 games in the ACC is not going to be putting you in the top 25.
No. It might get you a nice little bowl game in Boca Raton, but probably not on the AP list.
And then we have the Big 12 on the bottom line. you got A&M at their usual position, right? Actually not in their usual position. Depending on the year, they're all the way up at 4. They're not, they're always in the top 25, but 21 seems like a very appropriate place to stick A&M every single season, because then if they go 7-5, you're like, okay, well, I only had them at 21, or even if you put them all the way down at 24, it's like, fine, whatever. And then if they're surprisingly good, the best case scenario for A&M is they probably finish 14th in the final poll, because I don't think they're sniffing a fucking playoff.
No.
And so starting them right at 21 seems very fucking appropriate for Texas A&M.
I'm with you. Put them right there. What?
Iowa State, I think, is going to be really good. I think, obviously playing in the Big 12 championship game, they just ran into a red-hot Arizona State. Couldn't get it done. I think Iowa State has a really legitimate chance at actually, I'll go Iowa State, BYU, Texas Tech. I think one of those 3 teams finishes first in the Big 12. I think there's a really good chance that we see a Big 12 championship game featuring 2 of those 3 schools. BYU, it's going to depend on how the quarterback play looks after losing Retzlaff for premarital sex, but
Wild stuff out of BYU.
Won't get too much into that, but I do
No,
think
wild
there's
stuff.
a very real chance that two of these three teams are playing each other. Texas Tech, I think, has the highest ceiling out of any team in the Big 12 this year. But I do think there is a lot of distance between where their ceiling is and where their floor is. And so they're a big question mark for me. I'm confident with Iowa State saying they are the one Big 12 team out of 5 on this list that I am confident in saying they will be in the top 25 at the end of the season.
I get it.
I'm almost there with K-State, but not quite. BYU, a lot of that, like I said, is going to hinge on quarterback play. And Texas Tech, I do think, has the highest ceiling out of any Big 12 team, but I could also see a world where they go 7-5 and we're not even, we're in week 8 and we're like, who Texas Tech who?
Texas who? Yeah, no, I get it. What about Boise?
I think Boise's there as a pat on the back for last year, and the coaches they're just giving Boise respect. I wouldn't have Boise in my top 25 going into this season. I think losing Genty, who was such a huge part of that offense, is going to hurt. Boise's still a very good team. I'm not knocking them for anything. I don't know that I would put them in my top 25 preseason until we actually see them start getting into some games and seeing how they operate. And it's going to be different. And, they get the nod here. Little disappointing. That's normally Iowa's spot, but the AP will do it right. They'll stick Iowa right in there at 24-25 because it's not an appropriate preseason AP pool if you don't got Iowa just sitting there at 23-25.
True. That's true. I'm excited to bet those unders again. I'm so excited. Anyway.
Well, Brian Ferentz is out as the defensive coordinator, or as the offensive coordinator.
Offensive.
And so, who knows?
Could you imagine if Iowa discovers the forward pass?
Oh, God, look out. Well, I don't know. They still got Cade McNamara as quarterback?
No, is he?
Because if it is, not really what I'd want to be doing is having a Jim Harbaugh recruited quarterback as my starter, because Harbaugh fucking hates quarterbacks. I'm surprised Justin Herbert hasn't, requested a trade, because Harbaugh is probably no, fuck you. Your primary job is hand the damn ball off to the running back. He's the most important player on this team. Harbaugh's going in the GM's ear every day like, hey, we should sign a running back to a $42 million a year contract.
I think you're gonna like this guy that's starting for Iowa, Noah. They're going with Mark Gronowski. He's the projected starter transfer from South Dakota State. Led the Jackrabbits to 2 FCS championships and won the 2023 Walter Payton Award.
He's a stud. He can throw the rock. So I don't know what they're dealing with at wide receiver. Probably a bunch of nobodies. They probably have 2 different tight ends that are going to be first or second round picks. No wide receivers. Bunch of really good offensive linemen. A running back who's probably like a day 2, day 3 pick, and then it's always the fucking same, man. It's Iowa football. I don't know why I'm talking about Iowa football. They're always the same. It's the same thing every fucking year, and they're just gonna go 8-4 or 9-3, and it's not gonna matter.
And the final score of every game will be somewhere in the realm of 17-12 or whatever.
Oh, God. That's high scoring.
Man,
I didn't think it was possible for the books to go so low with some of those. There was one of them like a couple of years ago where it was like they hung the over under at 26.5.
Yeah.
Like, this is a fucking football game, a Big Ten college football game.
It hit, the under hit. I remember that one.
I think it was like Illinois and Iowa 2 or 3 years ago, where Illinois had like a top 5 defense, and so did Iowa. And Iowa's offense obviously didn't like to score. And this was pre-Illinois figuring out scoring the ball. And holy fuck, man! Goddamn, I can't wait for football season.
It's almost back. It is almost back. Anything else on the coaches poll before we move on?
No, well, coaches poll is fine. whatever, right? Because you got all the coaches voting on it. So I can't really be mad at them. They're generally favor their own conferences big time, which is why you see a bunch of Big Ten and SEC schools here. AP poll is going to be interesting. I'm sure it's going to look like a deranged fucking cousin of this, but
it's going to be a lot of the same teams. Just sprinkle a couple more SEC schools in there, and I think you got the AP top 25.
And in a way different order.
Yeah, way different. Way different.
Which is funny because as the season goes on, the farther we get into the season, the closer the coaches and AP poll look. But my favorite's always the preseason's usually like severely different, severely off. And obviously you got these coaches who are in the game, have been around it for so fucking long, and they've got their opinions. And then you got all the writers from the AP poll who are, doing whatever the fuck they do.
Doing what they do.
They're
voting. They're having opinions and voting on those opinions, Noah. Oh, Lordy. Well, cool, dude. Before we get into our division breakdown of the AFC, NFC West, you want to take a quick break to refill, and then we'll get rolling?
Yeah. Let's. Do you want to talk any MLB trade deadline real quick before we do that?
Yeah, my bad. Thank you for reminding me, Noah, because the trade deadline was last Thursday, and I thought my trade deadline was bad, Noah. Getting rid of Suarez, getting rid of Kelly, and then a couple of other pitchers that I didn't really care about, and Josh Naylor. Two of those three
Shelby
players.
Miller got moved.
That's fine.
So
did great. One less pitcher on IL for the D-backs.
You didn't get rid of your entire bullpen. The strongest part of your team, you didn't get rid of the entire fucking bullpen.
At least I didn't sell off 10 of the starting 26.
Yeah, and if you don't know, we are talking about my Minnesota Twins, and
I am. Hey, you cleared $30 million in cap space at least.
Yeah, and then we traded Correa for a bag of peanuts, and also agreed to pay like.
But listen, those weren't just any peanuts; those were magic peanuts, Noah. Those were magic peanuts.
Just wanting Correa out of the building. They're like, somebody just did not like Carlos Correa. Although it appears that it was per his request that he did want to return to Houston. I know the two teams were talking in some trade negotiations, were apparently way apart. And then I don't know if the Twins just fucking caved or what, because I think we got future considerations and we're still paying 2/3 of his contract. So
yeah.
So got rid of a little bit. Houston's essentially just paying 1/3 of his contract. He's going to finish out this year, maybe play a year or two more, and then probably retire. So it's not like we weren't really losing much unless all of a sudden he figures it out again. He had a great year last. He had a great year last year, a terrible year the year before, and has not been great this year. All sprinkled with injuries. I know. Guy who failed physicals at multiple teams is the reason he only ended up, reason he ended up at the Twins. But yeah, that was numbing to watch. The day and a half leading up to the trade deadline, and I knew the Twins were going to sell, but I didn't think we were going to
blow up the roster and call up your AAA team.
Oh my God! Well, now we have two AAA teams worth of players to choose from. So
hey, September is going to be fun for you. Every day it's going to be, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, the crazy thing too is, everybody being like, "Oh, it's wild." The Twins were a couple games under 500 because if there were that many teams willing to trade for that many players it was 11 players. 11 players. They're like, you would assume the Twins had somewhat decent of a roster. Yeah. It just wasn't working. Problem is, half of those were. I mean, we had one of the best bullpens in baseball, and now they're all spread apart to different teams all across the country, and just couldn't get the bats going. Starting pitching was not great outside of Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan, and now we got Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, Byron Buxton, and And who is that?
Who?
Where did he come from? So yeah, that's fun. You know,
The worst part is some poor kid in Minnesota, like their birthday was that Thursday, and they opened up a nice Carlos Correa jersey for their 8th birthday to go to the ballpark.
I hope their
And
parents wouldn't get him a Carlos Correa jersey. At least get a Byron Buxton jersey.
no, Carlos Correa is their favorite twin, dude.
I gotta say the memes were on fire all day long. I was getting a chuckle out of those. They lightened the blow a little bit, and
Yeah.
my favorite was when everyone was asking the poll ads to sell the team. This isn't what they meant.
This is what they meant. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Or when we said sell the team, we didn't mean player by player.
But it looks like they are going to sell the team. Those rumors are picking up. The Twins potentially going to be selling coming up this off season. So,
well, that price tag just went down. So,
yeah, went down.
So, somebody's going to get a better deal on that. Whether it was, I know Alex Rodriguez's name is in the mix. A-Rod.
He owns the Marlins.
Does he?
Yeah. Doesn't A-Rod own the Marlins? Or he's in like one of those conglomerate things?
I don't think so. I know A-Rod is, for whatever reason.
Oh, no, it was potential ownership bids. That's my bad.
Yeah, well, he's already going to be a part owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves. So now he's being linked to also the Twins, which, you know, why not just have ownership in 2 professional sports teams in the same city? Would have been really nice if all the buzz at the very beginning of the season, the offseason leading into the season, if the Ishbias had just done it, where could we have been right now? Where could we have been right now? Not selling. Because I don't think the word sell is in the Ishbias' DNA.
No, it's buy, and then it's buyout contracts, and then it's fire coaches.
It is what it is. If the poll ads would just sell the fucking team, and we can get some serious owner who actually gives a shit about the team, who wants to spend money, wants to win, it'll all be fine. I honestly don't think the Twins got significantly worse for the long haul off of this. We just threw in the towel for this year and potentially next year and maybe even the year. I mean, got a lot of really young, fucking good talent.
Yeah.
And you got to imagine some of it's going to develop, but it feels more like a setback than a big downer type of thing.
For sure. I get it.
I mean, if you're going 500 every year, it is what it is. But I was going somewhere with that. Anyways, I was going to say, yeah, the only thing that really got me was watching Joan Duran's intro coming onto the field for the Phillies. And it didn't really hit me until that. And I was like, fuck. Because it's a cool-ass intro. And then goes out and retires 3 batters and 4 pitches. And I'm like, all right, yeah. Fuck.
I want to say this, and I'm really not trying to be a dick, but it is going to come off like that. But I want you to know my intention is not to be a dick in this situation, okay? But his entrance looked so much fucking cooler at the bank than it ever looked at Minute Maid Park or wherever the hell you guys play.
It's also, what? Oh, Target Field?
Yeah.
It's kind of the same. It's literally the same. There's just a lot more maybe fans in the stands.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. And
because everybody turns on their phone flashlight, they're probably
and they're gonna see a lot of him because they're gonna be in a position to be winning games that late. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's probably gonna be more attendance. I would say.
Okay.
But other than that, it's literally the song, the graphics, all are the same.
So you think it's just the atmosphere of a winning organization that makes it feel better?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it looked fucking me scrolling on X. It literally looked the same, but you only see it posted when the Twins have a nice night game. Obviously, they're not doing that on a Saturday afternoon.
I don't know. Just felt like it had a little bit more juice. But anything else on the trade deadline?
I mean, only thing on that, Padres fucking sold their soul to the devil. If they don't win a World Series in the next year or two, they literally gave up their entire fucking farm system. So
For nothing.
They have a really, really fucking good looking bullpen, the Padres do. And their starting pitching is pretty solid. So
not tonight, but
they are selling out. And again, for the Padres, if you win a World Series this year or in the next 3 years, like, it's worth it. But after that, like, they're gonna have zero fucking farm system, and it's gonna be tough sledding.
what is it with these LA teams saying, like, F them kids, F our farm system? I don't know. It just seems to happen in California a lot.
Well, we'll see there. Phillies obviously making a number of moves. I think the Mets made a few moves too to, like, all the Mets moves were giving up just as much as the Phillies with less splash. So
Yeah.
I think, Mets just kind of establishing themselves as little brothers. And then you got a number of teams that are very well in contention in the Cubs, in the Tigers, a few other ones that were just silent
Didn't
at
make
the
any
deadline.
moves, didn't make any splashes. Yeah.
And I know, like, you got less money to work with than some of these coastal teams. East Coast, West Coast, they got a lot more money. And in the Midwest, there's not as much capital to spend, but you would still think a year like this year, the Cubs, the Tigers would have done something. The Brewers made a few minor moves, nothing like big. I think Shelby Miller, if he comes back good, looking off of the IL, that'll be helpful. By the way, the Brewers are just scoring fucking 15 plus runs every night right now. Don't know why. Those are. It's interesting, right? Because you talk about the Twins, a couple other teams as losers at the deadline, but you also throw into the mix there, kind of like the Cubs and the Tigers. Like, you didn't do shit.
No.
You're in a contending position and you made zero moves.
I maybe they're not used to, I mean, like, I get the Tigers. They haven't been in this position in a while to where, like, they're contending, and it's like, what do we do at the trade deadline if we're not selling? And same with the Cubs. I mean, I know the Cubs have won more recently, but still, they're not
Cubs
with
are.
that.
Cubs
Let's
are
hope
like,
it's not
good bad.
Let's just hope it's not another 100 years that we got to wait for a title there. One of my big winners, and it's not just because they literally just traded for D-backs players, but, bro, I've been a fan of this Mariners roster for the last couple of years, and they got the home run bats they need. They have no problem getting on base. They got no problem getting strikeouts. Their problem was getting runs home, and they got those big bats in there now.
Julio's figuring it out a lot later than you would hope for in the season, but he's starting to dial in and adding Naylor and Gino, who they got for steals from the D-backs, by the way.
Absolutely. And not that Cal Riley isn't doing his thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not discounting what Cal Riley has done and being that home run bat, but getting two more explosive bats in that lineup that can perform on the defensive side. Like, I really like this for this Mariners team and where they're going. And I think they got a real chance to come out of the West or at least secure a wild card spot.
Yeah, and yet somehow they're still chasing Houston a little bit. And I don't understand it because Houston is, like, not that good. But
no. Watching Houston baseball is so painful. Like, it's painful to watch, but they keep just ripping wins, and you're like, how the hell is this possible?
They find ways to win games, but they don't look good doing it.
They're the Chiefs of the MLB this year.
That is a perfect analogy.
They just win games. You don't know how they win games. They just win games.
They don't look good doing it. They play games where the other team looks better than them, and they still somehow score more runs and come out on top. Scoreboard.
Oh, man. It's good. But, sweet. Anything else in the trade deadline?
No. That's all I got. I just wanted to make sure we...
yeah, good call on that. My brain was not
for,
there.
Another 40 minutes talking about it, but we don't need.
Oh, I was fully into football NFL mode. I was just ready to go. And I'm watching a baseball game right now, and I forgot about the trade deadline. But cool. Let's step away for a hot sec. We'll get a refill going, and then we'll break down the AFC, NFC West. I'm the Perfect One, AJ. That's the Money Train, Noah. We'll be right back. You ready to rock?
Yeah.
Here we go. 3, 2. And we are back. What's up, DJs? Perfect One, AJ, Money Train, Noah. It's time for our AFC, NFC West division breakdown. Noah, where do you want to start? You want to start AFC, NFC?
Let's dive into the AFC.
Ooh, I like it, Noah. First page of my notes. That is perfect. Let's go ahead and start. With a team that definitely played above expectations last year with a first-year head coach. Well, first year in that system head coach and a brand new quarterback. Let's talk some Denver Broncos football, Noah.
He was in his first year as head coach there.
Sean Payton. Oh, you're right. Sean Payton had that year he hated Russell Wilson and made his life hell. I forgot about that. I'm sure Russell would like to forget about that too.
Yeah, Sean Payton was like, get the fuck out of here, Russell Wilson.
I really don't want you here if you can't tell. I just do not want you here. But he seems to want Bo Nix here, and he was happy with how they played last year. They went 10-7 on the season, made the wild card, lost to the Bills 31-7, proper ass spanking there. But I mean, Nix had a solid rookie year, bro. You know, as much as we wanted to call him Bo Picks and we're waiting for that opportunity to see that come back out of him, I mean, he only threw 12 interceptions on the season, 29 touchdowns, 3,755 yards, 4 TDs rushing, 430 yards rushing, a little bit of a dual threat quarterback action here. Is he going to be able to sustain that? You know, I think that's the big question. Is he going to go into that sophomore slump that we've seen a lot of sophomore quarterbacks go into, or is he going to be fine?
I think he's going to be fine because I think we're going to see the same offense, and it's going to be a lot of short routes, a lot of screen passes, and that's why his interception totals weren't super high his rookie year. And I don't really see much changing unless Sean Payton all of a sudden decides he wants to let Bo Nix air it out. And we've seen two different sides of Bo Nix in college, right? You had Auburn, Bo Picks, and then he goes to Oregon, and he was kind of lightening up a little bit, at Oregon, and had a decent year last year. If you break it down, though, I mean, a lot of his passes behind the line of scrimmage, which you're not going to generally throw interceptions on those. Those are going to go for completions, hence the completion percentage, all of that, and I think we're going to see a lot of the same. I think we're going to see a lot of the same. We're going to see a good defense out of Denver, and I don't know that they really did much to take too many steps forward.
I mean, the only thing they really did was sign Evan Ingram, maybe a little upgrade at tight end from last year, but
is it though? I mean, so yeah, the Broncos are just like, they'll be fine. I just don't see any like wild improvement that's going to have them contending here, and it's the AFC West. What do we say every fucking year? It's
the Chiefs. It's the
Chiefs division until it's not, and I don't think this year is that until it's not. And we'll get to the Chiefs later, but I don't know. I think there's a clear top dog in this division. I don't think there's any argument to be had there. And, people have varying opinions on how good and how dominant the Chiefs are. But, the Broncos they'll be solid. They'll be solid. I've got their ceiling at 11-6 this year. I think if they really figure it out, they can have a nice season, go 11-6. Realistically, I think they go 8-9 though. They got a kind of tough schedule, a tough division with 2 games against the Chiefs, 2 games against the Chargers, and so I think we're going to see a little bit of regression. Probably not a ton, but I do think they miss the playoffs this year. I think worst case scenario, everything falls apart. They go 6-11. That defense should still be decent.
Yeah.
I don't anticipate Bo Nix is going to hurt them a ton this season. He's just not a guy I have a lot of faith in being the reason they win games.
Yes, he reminds me a lot of Brock Purdy.
He's a game manager. That's what he is.
Yeah, which is fine. And I mean, it totally works for the Broncos, but it does lead to some limitations for what he can do into a game. And I mean, and to go on your defense talk there. This defense is going to be good. They might even be a little bit better. They get Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga from the 49ers. signing him over. They didn't trade with him because, again, the 49ers signed Brock Purdy, so they couldn't sign anyone else this year. But we'll get to that later. Don't you worry about that. But I do think this defense will be good. Our numbers are actually pretty similar. No, I do have their ceiling at 12-5. Ball bounces their way. Everything goes their way. I think they can end 12-5 and really be a top number 2 in this division. Their floor, I got it down at 7-10. Again, this is a good team. Sean Payton is the head coach. He's a good head coach. I don't think we need any more proof of that. Again, they just haven't done enough to really take that big step forward and even think about overthrowing the Chiefs here. I think they're going to go 9-8. I think I'm with you, like right there at 9-8, 8-9, somewhere right there, hovering around 500. But
win enough games, miss the playoffs by a game or 2 or 3 or whatever.
Yeah, not have the best draft pick, but still have a decent-ish draft pick, and yeah. One of those years for him. Very similar to last year, I would say. But that's Broncos football.
I think they are going to finish very similar to last year, although this year it's not going to be a surprise. It's going to be like, oh, okay, that's right where we thought you were going to end up.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Cool. Anything else on the Broncos?
No, I just I think it's going to be an extraordinarily mediocre season.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
And not a team we're probably going to be talking about a lot either, because
no,
they're going to go out there, they're going to do their thing, they're going to play in a lot of close games, and they didn't get the benefit of a over easy schedule to make me think this is a playoff team.
No. If they would have sucked last year, maybe they're a playoff team this year with an easier schedule, but that's not what the schedulers did. Anyway. Keeping it moving, Noah, let's go ahead and let's talk about that team who we essentially think runs this division until further notice, and that is your Kansas City Chiefs, coming off of their Super Bowl loss, which is still weird to say in the same sentence with Kansas City and Chiefs. But, I mean, like we talked about, Noah, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. As long as you got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes at the helm there, it's going to be fine. It ain't going to be pretty all the time. It ain't going to be the best football you've ever seen all the time, but it's going to be fine. There's never really a time where you want to raise the red flag and say, this team might be in trouble because you think Patrick Mahomes and the boys can get it figured out. They didn't do much in the offseason this year. I mean, cool. You re-signed Juju and Hollywood Brown. That's your big offensive moves this season. Good job. They do get some help on the defensive side, but no, it's been the story of the Chiefs the last couple of years. The defense has won this team games. The offense has just kind of, straggled behind and put up points to put up, but hasn't been that same explosive Chiefs offense that we saw in the beginning years of Patrick Mahomes' career.
I was going to say the last 2 years, just a little bit of a 180 from what we had the previous years before, where it was like, that offense was so elite and so dynamic with Mahomes doing what he was doing, and then Kelsey at the top of his game and Tyreek Hill, and then last 2 years it's been more about the defense.
Yeah, it has. And I mean, granted, last season, a lot of injuries definitely stunted that offense and what it could have done, and not seeing Patrick Mahomes without his number one weapons, I guess you can call them. But, you look at this wide receiver room and it's nothing flashy. It's nothing really to, pat your eyes out. Rashee Rice is solid, but he's going to be gone for some issues, isn't he? Didn't he have offseason issues? Or was that last year?
I don't remember exactly. Last year, Patrick Mahomes took him out.
Oh, that's right. Patrick Mahomes took him out. But
Mahomes decided to put his big ass head and his big ass helmet into Rashee Rice's knee.
I forgot about that. But I mean, you got Xavier Worthy, who had a fine rookie year, and I think he has potential to take another step up. He kind of fell into that Marvin Harrison Jr. trap where it's your rookie year, but you're the only real wide receiver on the roster. So congratulations, you're wide receiver number one. Make it happen. And Travis Kelce, showing his age a little bit, showing that decline, and definitely suffering from all those injuries as well, getting double teamed all the time. But again, they got to lose games before I lose faith in them at all.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the Kansas City Chiefs. They do have maybe the biggest advantage in the NFL of their coaching. Like, holy fuck! You look Andy Reid and then Spags. Spags staying on as the defensive coordinator. I mean, it's hard for me to sit here and imagine any scenario where the Chiefs don't win this division. They're probably going to be the one to maybe worst case scenario 3 seed in the AFC going into the playoffs, and I don't even think they'll be the 3 seed. Yeah, and then you got Patrick Mahomes at quarterback who can do whatever. Travis Kelce, who declining a little bit, but has got to still be a top 5 tight end in the league.
Easily.
I don't know that I'd be confident saying Travis Kelce's a top 3 tight end right now, but I do feel confident saying he's a top 5. Receiver room's a little weak. Running back, we'll see what they end up getting at running back. Offensive line should be decent-ish. Defense should be good. Maybe not great, but everything goes right. I got the Chiefs at 15-2. They do have some tough games on their schedule. They have the benefit
of having your ceiling?
15-2.
Okay.
They have the benefit of having almost all of their tough games at home at Arrowhead. So lucky them, huh? Shit's really not clicking. I've got their floor at 10-7 because I do think there is a world that happens, and they probably get into the playoffs either with a division win at 10-7 or a wild card. Realistically, I think the Chiefs go 13-4 this season. I think they go 13-4. They're going to have a great season again, and then for the Chiefs, the season really starts when the playoffs start.
As it always does, Noah. Copy, paste your floor, ceiling, and actual. I got them 10-7 at the floor, 15-2 for their ceiling, 13-4 as their actual. It looks like we are in sync on what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs. The chefs, if you will. But cool. Shout out. Let's keep it moving, Noah, to one of the teams with the name that I love to say the most, probably in the NFL, the Las Vegas Raiders. Coming in this year with a hell of a lot of new stuff going down in Las Vegas. New head coach in Pete Carroll, new quarterback in Geno Smith, new franchise in Ashton Jeanty, and the return to the NFL of offensive coordinator Chip Kelly, who I'm excited to see back on the sidelines yet again. But Noah, here's what I want to say about the Raiders. And I think it's a very good thing, and I commend them for it, but it's going to lead to a lot of pain and suffering for the Raiders fans of the likes they have not seen in a long time. It feels committed to a full rebuild. Geno Smith to a short-term contract, Pete Carroll to a short-term contract, drafting a running back to help out, whatever young gun you're going to end up bringing in here with the Chiefs. With the Raiders. Not only that, but a defense that still has a lot of potential there. Max Crosby going to do his thing. I love the free agent signing of Jamal Adams. I think that's going to be huge for him. And I don't know. Huh?
Blitz boy.
Yes, Blitz Boy. Got to get Blitz Boy out there.
Hey, Pete Carroll loves Blitz Boy, so
he does. I when I saw that trade go through or whatever, that signing go through, I was like, "Oh, all's right with the world. Let's go." But nah, dude, I
bring in Marshawn Lynch
and bring him. Just call him in. No, he's got his own Marshawn Lynch now. It's his name is Ashton Jeanty, and I know a lot of people love to get really excited about these rookies and everything like that. And I've been guilty of that, getting overhyped about a rookie. I really don't think I'm grasping at straws saying that Ashton Jeanty is going to end up being talked about in the same level of Derrick Henry. The running style, the way, he's just fucking hard to tackle. He runs downhill. He'll bust your nose and bust his and keep running. I mean, I truly think he has the potential. Do I think he has the same offensive line help that Derrick Henry has? Not right now. Will that develop eventually? Maybe, but I think even without that offensive line help, Genti is going to have a phenomenal rookie season and really put himself in the rookie of the year candidate, offensive rookie of the year conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry wasn't going into that much in Tennessee either.
No.
So, I think that's a decent analogy there, a decent comparison. I think Genti will be very solid as a rookie. I don't think it's like he's going to come in and just be absolutely dominant. Like, oh, this is a top 5 running back in the league. As a rookie, I think he can get there within 2 to 3 years of experience in the NFL. But, I don't think we're going to see that right off the bat. Apparently his pass catching has been looking good. A word in Raiders camp is he is everything that he has been advertised to be.
As advertised, yeah.
You got Brock Bowers, who is arguably the best tight end in the league, only being in the league 1 year. Geno, who can throw the rock pretty well. Max Crosby on the defensive side. A lot of gaps still, though. A lot of gaps still. So there's a lot of nice pieces. I'm just not seeing the whole picture here with the Raiders.
100%.
I think there's no doubt they finish last in this division. I think we'd be crazy to sit here and say that they're not going to finish last.
Yeah.
They do benefit from having a very easy schedule, right? I mean, it's for most teams would be a cakewalk outside of the 6 games they have to play against the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos. That's kind of the only downfall here.
Yeah.
in a shittier division with this schedule, I might be talking about them actually like going 500. I just don't see it happening when you have 2 games apiece against the Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos. That being said, I do have their ceiling at 7-10. I think if all goes well, all goes right, they have a lot of easy games against teams like the Bears, Giants, Browns, Jaguars, all these other teams that they, Colts, Titans, that could result in wins. I just don't think they're all going to result in wins. So I've got them at 5-12, though. I think the Raiders are actually going to find a way to win some games and go 5-12. Not be the worst team in the league. Still have a top 10 pick going into next year, but maybe 6, 7, 8. Floor-wise, I've got them at 2-15. If it's really just not working, I don't think this team is bad enough that they won't win a game or even 2, but that's probably where I've got their floor at is 2-15 if they're just really, really not good.
Okay, fair enough. This is my... no, I'm sorry. I have an NFC West team that's got a larger range, but this is one of my larger ranges here with this exercise we do. I got their floor at 5-12. This team, the way the coaching, the way it's constructed, and the fact that Geno Smith is solid, you know what I mean? He's not too flashy. He can get the job done, and I think he's got enough talent around him. He can make it work. That I think they can get out there and win minimum 5 football games. Their ceiling, on the other hand, I got that up at 10-7, and I am talking like unicorns start flying. Dolphins are pissing gold. Like everything bounces their way, and Geno, Brock Bowers, and Ashton Genti are this unstoppable, trio. And Max Crosby is the sack leader, and Jamal Adams is second right behind him. That type of stuff happening. I got their ceiling at 10-7. And I don't know. No, they're actual. I'm hovering around 7-10 and 6-11. A little bit more towards 7-10. I think those easy games do get easy, and if they can just catch fire in a couple of close games, ball bounces their way in some of those, division games. You can split a couple of those. I think they're going to be in a really good spot, but I do have them losing in this division.
Yeah, it certainly helps a lot to have the, Colts, Titans, Browns, Jaguars, Bears, Patriots. Don't know if I'm missing anybody, like all on your schedule in one given year. Like over half of their schedule is teams that will probably finish under 500. And then you just have some tough ass division games where if they can steal 1 or 2 of those, like, that's why I had them at 7-10. I don't think they're going to win every single game that's against a below 500 team, but because I don't anticipate the Raiders are going to be great this year. Yeah,
No.
you obviously think a little bit higher of them than I do, by about 3 games on each mark, but they might not suck.
I think that's what the point I'm trying to get across. Like, they're going to be bad, but I don't think they're going to suck. Like, if you know what I mean? Like, if a Raiders game comes across my TV or my 4-box, like, I'm not going to be upset. You know what I mean? But, like, the Browns come across my screen, I don't really give a shit. Or the Giants. Or the Jets. Or, I don't know, name another bad team. Jaguars.
Yeah, and most of those teams are on the Raiders' schedule, and they'll probably win some of those games. I just don't think they're going to win all of them.
Well, we'll obviously have to wait and see on that. Noah, let's get to our last team in the AFC West. Excuse me. Los Angeles Chargers coming at you with a lot of the same of last season. But I don't know, man. It's another year in Harbaugh's system, another year of getting ready to run the football. Justin Herbert really perfecting that handoff technique I'm hearing over the offseason. And so he's ready to just right there, dude. He's excited for that. But no, man, it's one of those things with the Chargers. I always feel I don't know if weird's the right word talking about them, but they're like, someone throws you a grenade and they say it could be live, it could be fake. And you're just kind of sitting there with the grenade looking at it like, well, is it live or is it fake? That's kind of how I feel about with the Chargers. You know, this is a team that is constructed so well. And the offense can be so explosive that they can go out there and win a shit ton of football games and put up a lot of points on the scoreboard. Or they can go ahead and Charger and not live up to their potential and not live up to how good they're going to do. And I know Harbaugh being there kind of displaces some of the Charger-ness of the Chargers, but I don't know. I'm excited about them, but I'm just ready to get my heart broken again. I guess I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be overly exciting.
Oh God, no.
I think they're going to try to run the ball a lot. I think Omarion Hampton's going to have a great year, especially with Zeke Nnaji kind of being, or not Zeke Nnaji, Najee Harris. I'm crossing wires into other sports at this point. Najee Harris being a bit of a question mark. Can he even see out of his one eye? Who knows? That's still up in the air, but I think they're going to run the ball a lot. They're going to play some halfway decent defense. Herbert's great, but who the fuck is he throwing the ball to?
Lad.
And yeah, I think the Chargers are going to be decent. I've got them going 11-6. I think they're going to win some games. I've got their ceiling all the way up at 13-4, but I've also got their floor at 8-9. Like, if shit's not working out, like, this team could go below 500, and it never fails for the Chargers to Charger. And I don't think that necessarily fully changes with Harbaugh in there, and so we'll see what happens with that. But I expect a squeak into the playoffs with a wild card type of season out of them.
For sure, and copy-paste.
And lose in the first round on the road.
Yeah. Oh, as they do. Copy paste, floor, ceiling, actual 8-9, 13-4, 11-6 for me as well.
They'll earn the right to go play their first round playoff game in Buffalo, Baltimore, or Kansas City.
For sure.
That is how I'm going to summarize this: is the Chargers will make the playoffs, and they'll get the right to go play at Kansas City, at Baltimore, or at Buffalo, where they will get their ass handed to them in all three places. Maybe Houston too, which they'll still get their asses handed to them. So let's be honest. I think this team makes the playoffs. I don't have any hope in them making it past the first round of the playoffs.
Just for the record, I hope they earn the right to go play in Baltimore. I want another Harbaugh Bowl in the playoffs. Let's go. Because those Thanksgiving dinners those next years are not fun.
and John will continue to show that he is the superior brother.
For sure. For sure. That's all I've got in the AFC West. No, you got anything else?
No.
Sweet. Let's go ahead and move on to my division, Noah. Let's move on to the NFC West. And let's go ahead and just start with my boys. Let's start with the Arizona Cardinals, Noah. And I'm okay. This is the first time in the history of us doing this show that I can get on this microphone and say I actually feel good about the Arizona Cardinals this season.
That's not the first time I've heard you say that, but
this is the first time like I actually believe my own bullshit with it. You know what I mean? And I'm not just saying it to be a homer.
The first time you've said it, it's just the first time you believe what you're saying.
Yes, the first time I can believe what I'm saying when I'm talking about the Cardinals being good. Noah, I really like where this team's at right now. I know Jonathan Gannon, little pew pew boy, came off a little weird in his opening press conference and in some of his other stuff, but he seems to have these boys on the right track for the first time in a long time, certainly since the first time Kyler's been there. And it seems like it's an actual culture in that building. And if they were to go back and do Hard Knocks this year, yes, the facilities would still look like shit, but you wouldn't see everyone just be absolutely miserable, just clocking in to clock out, et cetera, et cetera. That was so bad. And it feels like a complete 180 with this team. They're paying players. They're
from Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, from Cliff to Jonathan Gannon and the new GM we've got in Ossenfort. Like everything is actually, looks like you're putting together a professional football team, which is not something that we've known how to do in Arizona for a long time. And not only that, and I know a lot of this team rest and will live and die with Kyler Murray and how he can play this season. I said it earlier in the preseason, and I'm going to echo it here again. I do believe Kyler Murray will be an MVP finalist come the end of this season. This is the first time that I have seen him interact with the team, with the media, not as a guy who's a quarterback, but as the quarterback in the NFL for the Arizona Cardinals. He feels like he has that leadership swagger about him. He's talking to more of the guys. He's being more open. He's working with MHJ. He's working with some of these other guys. It just seems like a different Kyler coming into the season, a more mature Kyler, a more professional Kyler. And I'm really excited to see that because I think it'll translate to on the field as well. He said in interviews early in the preseason, I did not run as much as I should have last season. Looking at tape and looking at what I did not run as much. And I can fucking agree with that. The amount of times I'm screaming at the TV, run, Kyler, run, your little legs, run. But he wouldn't run. It was pissing me off. But I'm excited about that. Not only Kyler, but Marvin Harrison Jr. has put on some good weight this offseason. Looks a lot bigger, looking tougher in training camp, going up for contested balls. And I think he's going to be a lot more competitive in those one-on-one situations for those balls. Not only that, but you got a backfield with James Conner and Trey Benson I'm excited about. Trey McBride getting paid and going to show why he got paid again. And I think he's going to be in that conversation for tight end 1 or 2 in the league this season. He's an absolute beast, dude. And the fact that he chose to re-sign with Arizona was, oh my God, Christmas came early. Let me tell you about that, brother. But then it comes to the defense. And the defense has always been something that has worried me about this team. This defense has really lived and died with Budda Baker. And yes, we've had J.J. Watt come in for a little bit. We've had, other guys come in. This time it's Josh Sweat coming in to play DN for us after we lost Gardeck in the offseason. I forgot where he's at, but shout out to Gardeck. He gave us a lot of really good years, injuries and everything, but Josh Sweat coming in there. And then let's not forget probably might go down as the best draft pick in Arizona Cardinals history, and that being Will Johnson in the second round.
If he stays healthy.
Has potential to be one of the best draft picks for the Arizona Cardinals in the history of this team. And I'm even going all the way back to the St. Louis Cardinals, Noah. Like, that's how good this draft pick could end up being for this team.
You just got to hope it doesn't turn into a Jair Alexander of the last 2 seasons type of situation where you're sitting with this top-tier cornerback who just only plays 4 games a year.
Yeah, no, I want the Jair part where he like puts the seatbelt on the guy. But yeah, no, if we could stay away from the injuries with Will Johnson, that would be fantastic. But again, Noah, just looking at it on paper without playing a single snap this season, I've got my ceiling for the Arizona Cardinals at 13-4 with the schedule that is presented to them. And I think the weakening of the NFC West in general, we'll get to that obviously as we get down this list. I got their floor. At 7-10.
Okay.
That's where I think. And again, this is me with no injuries. Everyone's healthy every single game. The wind blows our way. Balls bounce, right? I think we go 11-6 this year. I think that not only will we be competing for the top of the NFC West, I think we will be going into week 18, needing to win that game to be in a good place with a little bit of help to get a wild card spot or something like that. And I know it sounds so sad to be excited about potentially needing to win a week 18 game to need help from another team to maybe get a wild card spot. But listen, I'm an Arizona sports fan, so I will take that hypothetical to the grave with me.
I think if you guys go 11-6, you're not going to be stressing about a wild card spot, but
it's the Arizona Cardinals. You never know.
I could see if the Cardinals were to go 11-6, I could see that scenario for the division win, not for a wild card. I think you'd be locked into a playoff spot. I've also got my floor at 7-10 for the Cardinals. I don't share your same sentiment for the excitement, and this division was really tough for me because I think it's a total crapshoot. I think any of these 4 teams could finish first in this division. I think any of these 4 teams could finish last. So I'm going to have some very close floors and ceilings for all of them. Every team in this division got a not overly difficult schedule. And this is just, for me, the division of mediocrity is what this season's going to be, and somebody's going to win more games than other ones. I don't think we're going to see a team win this division a game under 500 like we've seen before. Because I don't think any of these teams are bad, but I don't think any of these teams are going to be particularly great. And so 7-10 is where I have the floor for the Cardinals. I actually do have them finishing last in the division. AJ, don't hate me for that. At a record of 8-9. I have them going 8-9, a game under 500, and finishing last in this division in a real tight one, where I only have 2 games separating first and last. Ceiling-wise, I got them at 11-6. I think, everything goes well. I think Cardinals go 11-6, but 8-9 is where I'm landing with them.
Sam Darnold's in our division, and you have the Arizona Cardinals going dead last in this division.
Sorry, what was that? You cut out a little.
Sam Darnold is in our division, and you have the Arizona Cardinals going last.
Yeah. Like I said, I got 2 games separating first and last place in this division, and somebody's got to land somewhere. And my floor and ceilings all fall to a point where every team could finish first and every team could finish last, and there could be any order under the sun with how this division plays out. Because I genuinely do not have a good mark on any team in this division. I think they're all capable of winning games, and they're all capable of losing games. And I think it's going to be wild to see play out. And if anybody wants to put together a 1, 2, 3, 4 list of how you think this division is going to go, I can almost guarantee you're going to be wrong.
We'll see. Let's keep it moving. Oh, I can't believe you.
Somebody had to be last. I've got their ceiling at 11-6, AJ, which is good enough to, with where my other floors and ceilings are, is good enough to win this division.
I feel like that British guy who just got punched in the face by his friend, and he's got to look at him. I can't believe you've done this. I can't believe it. Wow.
Hey.
Anyway.
We're all about, just these are just my honest opinions. I ain't going to sugarcoat
anyway.
It. Cardinals fan.
Moving on, Noah. Let's go to the Los Angeles Rams, who already might be starting with a little bit of a quarterback controversy, but not in the way that you're expecting, Noah. As Matthew Stafford reportedly has not been practicing and is week to week. with a back issue, and it is the team doctors, including the team spinal surgeon, who has advised him to stay out. So we'll keep an eye on that. Jimmy G and Stetson Bennett are the ones on the roster behind him. So if anything, it would be a quarterback competition between the two of those.
Oh, man. Porn star Jimmy and Stetson Bennett. They better hope to God that Stafford's ready to go. And I'm sure he will be. I'm sure he will be by week 1.
I am too. It feels a little bit like a Burrow situation, you know what I mean, where he just misses training camp but is okay for week 1. And it'll be a little bit of a slow start maybe, but I'm hoping it's nothing to worry about. Stafford still has some good football in him, obviously. And the way this team is put together right now, I mean, this should be one of the more explosive offenses in the NFL.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
Could be. With Puka, Devontae, Tutu. Got Kyron in the backfield still. Blake Corum in the backfield.
Yep.
Higbee at tight end, but.
Yeah. You know the crazy thing about this division, AJ? At least the way I'm seeing it. So I've got the Cardinals, going last, but I also have the Cardinals floor higher than any of the other 3 teams. 7-10. Spoiler alert, I have the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers all at a 6-11 floor. I've got the Cardinals at a 7-10 floor. Granted, I have the narrowest window on the Cardinals because I think their ceiling's maybe a little lower, their floor is a little higher than these other teams. But Rams I've got at 6-11 if shit hits the fan here.
Okay.
I've got them at 6-11. I think if everything goes right, and I do have the highest ceiling for the Rams at 12-5, because if Stafford's fully healthy, Puka Nacua is doing his thing, that run game gets going like it can, and that defense should be pretty decent. I think the Rams can go 12-5. Again, no team in this division has an overly tough schedule.
No.
One team does have an exceptionally easy schedule, and we'll get to them later. But I've got the Rams going 10-7 and winning this damn division at 10-7. And this is just the way that I'm seeing it before a down of football is being played, before we've had any of these teams playing any preseason games. But I've got the Rams winning this at 10-7. Yes, 2 games better than the Arizona Cardinals, who I have in last place.
You little shit. I have their...
And just about every team in this division going either somewhere between 2-4 and 4-2 against division opponents.
Yeah, me too. I will say with the division opponents, I kind of have it there too.
Which is going to be the big kicker. One of these teams goes 5-1 in division play, they win this division.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, but I could also see a scenario where they all go 3-3 in division play.
And it's a crapshoot from there.
And then it's coming down to fucking tiebreakers.
And that's always fun. We're not far off, actually, in this one. I got their floor at 7-10. Their ceiling at 13-4, and their actual at 10-7. I do think they finish one game worse or tie with the Cardinals, something like that. But I do think the Rams and the Cardinals are the 2 best teams in this division.
Granted, don't get me wrong, me picking the Cardinals last, I don't think they're the worst team in this division.
Yeah.
That's not at all what I mean by that. I think the Rams on paper are probably the best team, but they also
Agreed.
have an older team that I'm not super confident in holding up throughout a whole season, which is why I've got them as the highest ceiling, but I also have them tied for the lowest floor here, which it's super far off. But I think there is a lot of variation from what we can see with generally all 4 of these teams, other than, like I said, the Cardinals having kind of that tighter window for me where I think they'll be decent to good, but not great, but not bad.
Just somewhere in that weird spot. I get where you're coming from, dude. And that's kind of where I'm at. And you're going to see a lot of these teams, and I'm kind of in the same place with the NFC West. A lot of these teams have the similar numbers, and it's just, it's a hard division this year. And you look at a team like the 49ers, who has, been a mainstay. It's been Rams or 49ers pretty much the last couple of years. But this team, I even have my concerns about. It looks a little bit different, newer weapons on the offensive side. But Brock Purdy getting signed, signing that big deal early in the offseason, that's put some stress on the 49ers. And we've seen them, as we talked about earlier, have to lose some defensive weapons like Greenlaw, like Hafana. And I'm worried. It's starting to worry me that it's too much to lose. And that, yes, you got all these flashy pieces and everything, but if you don't have the substance to go with the flash, you're going to come with nothing. And that's just kind of where I'm at here. This offensive line's newer. Is Purdy going to be able to work in a pocket that's not, a clean pocket 24/7 when he can just see everything and get the ball out? Is Brandon Ayuk going to be a pain in the ass? Because he just seems like he's been a pain in the ass this entire offseason and will continue to be so. I don't know, man. I'm not feeling good here. I'm not feeling good about the 49ers, but that's most of the NFC West. I've got their floor at 6-11. I've got their ceiling at 11-6, and I got their actual at 9-8. I think they're going to be just above 500, but they're going to win some good games. They're going to lose some bad games. That's just going to be Kyle Shanahan. I don't think he's going to be able to coach his way out of this one.
Well, this is going to be an interesting take because I do think the Niners are going to be the worst team in the division here, not record-wise, but the beautiful benefit of finishing last in your division the previous year. They did finish last, right?
I thought it was the Seahawks, wasn't it?
No.
Give me a second.
I think the Seahawks and the Cardinals both finished above them either by tiebreakers or record alone. Looking at their schedule, they had to have finished last, right?
Yes, they finished 6-11. Cardinals 8-9.
Yeah, so the beauty of that is you get to play all of the other teams like the Saints and the Giants and the Bears and all these other teams where your division foes have a little bit tougher tasks to deal with. And so on paper, I think the Niners are what I wanted to be last in this division, but then looking at the schedule and factoring that in, I've got their floor at 6-11, the same as the Rams and the Seahawks. I've got their ceiling at 11-6, the same as I have the Cardinals and the Seahawks. But I've got them going 10-7, finishing record-wise tied with the Rams for first place. Rams win the division on a tiebreaker. But as much as I was so looking forward to, picking San Fran to have some terrible fucking season, I've got them going 10-7 and potentially grabbing a wild card spot, losing the tiebreaker to the Rams because they're not winning. They're not going 2-0 against the Rams. If they go 1-1, it goes to division record and then some other things. I don't think there's a scenario where they win tiebreaker wise, but which is funny too, because when I was writing it down, I went Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals, and then put the Niners in, and I was like, oh wait, shit, no, okay, and then had to draw a little arrow for the Niners up to second in the division. But I think they have maybe one of the easiest schedules in the entire NFL. I think there's enough talent on this roster that they will piece together some wins there. If they make the playoffs, I can't imagine they're doing a goddamn thing in the playoffs, but they also why I have my prediction for them almost all the way up at where their ceiling is, because they just have an easy-ass fucking schedule. They have an easy-ass fucking schedule. Not that any team in this division has a tough schedule, but the Niners got the benefit of the doubt of getting the easy-ass schedule.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Sweet. Let's go ahead and wrap it up, Noah, with the Seattle Seahawks. Got second-year head coach Mike McDonald in there. You got a new OC this year, new offensive staff all around. Those are the big changes coming in there, along with Sam Darnold getting that 3-year deal. Seahawks really banking on the fact that it's not a one-hit wonder, and it wasn't just the fact that he had Addison and Jordan around him. Jefferson, excuse me. But hey, JSN, Cooper Kupp, not 2 targets to blow your nose at. 2 guys to
solid 1-2 punch there.
Yeah, that's not a bad 1-2 punch to come in there. The offensive line is kind of where my worries come in with that. But hey, don't forget, MVS is there too, Noah. MVS is also in Seattle, so
he's still in the league,
apparently. And Rodgers didn't get him that job, so shout out to MVS still being in the league. But, you got Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet still in the backfield. Nice little 1-2 punch there. This offense, if Sam Darnold doesn't start, seeing ghost, he could have a time. He could have a time here.
I think this offense is actually kind of nice. The running back room does not get enough love. Does not get enough love.
No.
Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, both could be starting running backs on a lot of teams. And so having that 1-2 punch, if Walker does go down again with injury, Walker's supposed to be the number one guy, but then Charbonnet came in and he looked pretty nice.
Looked great.
I think JSN is ready to blow up this year. I think JSN is going to absolutely blow up. And then Cooper Kupp may be the best wide receiver 2 that you can have if he's healthy. He wasn't really healthy for portions of the year there with the Rams last year. Puka Nacua obviously had a tremendous year, but Cooper Kupp was a little disappointing last year. But he's only a couple years removed from being a fucking Triple Crown winner there at wide receiver. And I think if he rehabs well this offseason, gets back to it, that could be a really dangerous 1-2 punch. It's not Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, but I think Darnold's going to have a nice little offense there. I think he is going to regress from what we saw with the Vikings. I think there's a reason the Vikings had no problem letting him go. And on the defensive side of the ball, too, I think Seattle got a little bit better. So Seattle had a not bad season last year, and I do think they got marginally better. I don't think they got, crazy better, but I do think they got marginally better this offseason. And I do have their floor at 6-11, their ceiling at 11-6. That's kind of basically where I landed with all 4 of these teams. I think Seattle goes 9-8, misses the playoffs by a hair, finishes 3rd place in the division, and I think it's just razor thin here in the NFC West. I think it's going to be razor thin.
Yeah.
Any injuries could have a big impact on seeding in this division, on who finishes where. Any 1 or 2 rookies just performing way better than expected could have a huge impact on where these teams line up. Again, Will Johnson doesn't get injured at all, has a fucking phenomenal year. That's going to have a huge impact. And because I think the margins are going to be so razor thin between 1st and 4th in this division, a couple of those little things, a couple even just ball bounces, penalty flags, anything like that in the 6 divisional games that each of these teams have to play. And again, that's why I said if any of these teams go 5-1 in division play, they won the division, because that's what's going to happen. You go 1-5, 2-4 in division play, you're missing the playoffs
for sure. You
go 3-3, all 4 of these teams might go 3-3, so that might be okay. It's fine. But it's looking at the 8 divisions in football, this one to me is just so razor thin. The margin for error is so little that I won't be shocked if any of these teams win. I won't be shocked if any of these teams are last place at the end of the year.
I get it. I just think the Seahawks have too many new pieces to me, not only player wise, but staffing wise and everything. New system, new quarterback, new everything. I think it's going to be a rough front half of the season for them, and they'll probably pick it up in the back. But I got their floor down at 4-13 if everything hits the fan. Ooh. Yeah. I got their ceiling.
If Darnold sees all the ghosts.
If Darnold goes back to being Sam Darnold, 4-13 is.
Now that you say that, not out of the question, not out of the realm of possibility.
I'm so sorry. We've seen him play one good season with an unbelievable offense and the quarterback whisperer in Kevin O'Connell. No disrespect to Mike McDaniel, but he ain't shown that he can be Kevin O'Connell yet.
Well, Sean Payton was the quarterback whisperer before.
Yeah, KOC, but then
I've never heard Mike McDaniel called the quarterback whisperer.
Neither have I, but I feel like it's still a slight at a head coach if you don't call him a quarterback whisperer. So,
okay, I was confused by throwing Mike McDaniel in there. Sean Payton was supposed to be the first quarterback whisperer.
Yes, and then he did not want to whisper to Russell Wilson. So
no, he hated Russell Wilson.
He was yelling at him. There was no whisper in there, but So yeah, that's why I have them so far down at 4-13. If Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold, and he's not just a one-hit wonder, and he wasn't a one-hit wonder, then it's a different conversation. But ceiling at 9-8, even if things go right, the vibes feel off with this team. I usually have a pretty good read on the Seattle Seahawks, and it just does not feel like a normal Seattle Seahawks year back when Pete Carroll was there and that winning culture was there. It feels like something has shifted. And I don't know if it's all the changes and it's just getting that new culture set, but it doesn't feel like it's set yet. So I do have them going 6-11 this season, I think. And honestly, if I'm the Seahawks, I'm not upset by that. I think that's a good starting point. I know they played better last season, but again, you had Geno Smith, you had DK, you had some other pieces, and it was a different team. So
I don't think you can be happy about 6-11 though.
I'd be happy about 6-11 Seahawks.
Well, you're a Cardinals fan.
Someone can be happy about it, but sweet, dude. Well, that's all I got in the NFC, AFC West. You got anything else in that, the NFL, or anything else before we sign off for the night?
No, that's. I think we've got a very full episode. That's what I got.
For sure. Well, we will be live this Wednesday, getting ready for some playoff golf. Noah, you ready for some playoff golf?
Hell yeah, dude.
Hell yeah. We got the St. Jude's this weekend. We'll break down, have our best analysis, bets, picks, all of that fun stuff. So you're not going to want to miss that. But hey, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Shout out to everyone watching here on Rumble, YouTube, X. Y'all are the best. If you like what we're cooking, please hit those like buttons. Hit those follow buttons. Does help us out a lot more than you know. But with all that being said, I'm the Brofect One AJ. That's the Money Train Noah. And we'll see you next time on Degenerate Takes.